YouTube, this is Cutt here. It's great to be with you guys once again. Here's another tutorial to show how I broke down this video and how I made this video from scratch. This is something we're going to continuously do with Asteknight and his music. Every time we do a Throwback Thursday, we're going to add something to this diner. So if you have any ideas what we should add or who we should add or whatever, definitely put it in the comment box. So this was the opening that I decided to do. I'm not going to show the speed drawing to this, but it was just so much fun to, like, you know, just come up with some idea. And it's so simple. It's nothing really happening. But what we are going to do is continue to add sound effects to this that symbolize the things that are added into this video. I'm really excited about that. So as you can see, and you'll start to see, I'm like, which direction do I do this? So many different like ideas, and I finally settled on the one. To save yourself some trouble, you know, this is a sketch, so it's I didn't have to do a lot of like detail, and it's repetitive things, so I didn't have to do so much. And when it comes to the inking stage, a lot of times you can just kind of copy an angle and just kind of manipulate where you can, you know, like resize it to get the dimensions. And it's never really perfect when you do it that way, but it definitely saves a lot of time. So it was crazy. super crazy. I haven't done a background in a while. They're fun, but you have to think about every aspect of the page. When you're drawing a character, they're just in the middle or wherever you put them, and you don't have to always do a background or a world around them. But when you're dealing with a background, when you're dealing with a scene, every single part has to be thought about, right? So if I put no windows, well then what's on those walls, right? If I put a window, then what's outside the window? And then you have to go as far as the eye can see because you're creating the outside, right? So it's a lot, But here you can see the inking stage. What I did with the booths, they were simple. I just made one that kind of creates the pattern, and then I just copied it and then made it a little bit smaller, made it a little bit bigger, and it looks like it's going back in perspective. But honestly, you wouldn't do it that way because in reality, everything shifts a little bit. So even in the back, that back booth, I had to like adjust it in a weird way because the scaling started to get odd. So I just kind of made a little round area back there, which works, but you know, that's not cool. Anyway. So as you can see, we're getting into the whole color stage. This part is hard too, in a sense of figuring out what is going to be what color. Of course, a color palette is always great because it limits your decision making. So I knew I was going to have red, I knew I was going to have checkered floors. There's certain things that just, one, that are standard in a diner, but there were still some choices I had to make, like, do I want the till tables? Do I want to have an offset color? How do I want warm temperature inside and cool temperature outside? So I went with that decision, but I could have flopped it where it was a warmer temperature outside and a little bit cooler inside. So I had to make that decision so that it can be something that we deal with even in the future when we start to add more characters or more things into the scene, more animated movement and things like that. Dealing with the city in the background, it was very fun, but I didn't know exactly how I was going to do it. I didn't know what I was going to do about the windows. Windows are a pain, especially when it's a lot of detail. The good thing about a far distant building that's going to be blurred, you don't have to do so much detail. So I can make a small little pattern, copy it, erase certain areas, and then sparkle in some dots like you can see here. Just sparkled in some random dots that look like far distant windows. So it's actually not as complicated as it may seem, but it was a lot of fun. And now you can see I'm starting to get into the shadows and the lighting and all that stuff. Yeah, it's a problem-solving thing. You just kind of have to, you just know, I know the light is coming from the window. That's where the main source of light is coming from the outside city. So I knew everything opposite of that is the shadow. Now you'll see I'll do some rim lighting and some light that seems to come from the kitchen area. So that just adds a little bit, and then obviously there's a light source coming from the actual jukebox. My favorite stage is rim lighting. It is my favorite part of drawing. I love to add the glimmers of light that bounce on and off of the different objects that are just a little taste of light. It's one of my favorite parts. The highlights and the rim lighting is the favorite.
Now, none of that solves the problem, because we mistakenly believe that the problem is out there and the solution is out there, whereas the real problem is in here.
So this is not Cutt. This is actually Asteknight's character that will be added to our new animated shorts coming soon. And this is his time to shine when it comes to the animations and the music and all that. So I wanted to put his character there. Don't worry, there will be a Cutt character somewhere in this scene at some point, but I wanted to start off with Asteknight. What are you doing? I know you're not about to leave without liking or sharing or something. I know you see that red button. You better subscribe to my channel. See you soon.